Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of Algebra 51. How are you doing today? First of all, we're going to talk about is algebraic expressions and models. This is chapter 1.2. If you're following along, if you think you missed something, we'll keep them numbered so you'll know if you missed a step or you missed an episode, and kind of keep it in order so you can follow along. The first thing we got is we're going to talk about evaluating powers and we have to learn something called order of operations. And order of operations, I know most of you have probably heard this before. This is, and if you haven't, we're going to talk about it. A lot of people like to remember it by saying, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. But that's the acronym to help you remember parentheses. Let's do a little different color here. Parentheses, exponents, multiplication, division, addition, and subtraction. But the order of operations go in a more efficient step by doing this. And let's back that up and give you a different color here. Let's do red. The order of operations tend to go like this. Number one is going to be, the first thing you do is you do all of the operations within grouping symbols. So you're doing the parentheses or grouping symbols. And number two, the next one, you're going to evaluate powers. See, this is the parentheses is the grouping symbols, and the powers are the exponents. So, and then the next thing you're going to do is you're going to do multiplication and division, and we'll do that in sort of a shorthand, and you're going to go left to right. Same thing with addition. When you get to addition, it's addition and subtraction. Subtraction, and you're going to go left to right as well, and that's the order of operations. Now let me slide this up. I'm going to give you just pause the thing right now and write down your notes as you see them. We're going to go ahead and continue on, and we're going to talk about evaluating powers. And let's say if you're looking at A, let's start with the first one here. This is -2 in parentheses of the fourth power. Now everybody knows what exponents are. If you haven't, you probably want to go back and brush up on them. But it's the same as -2 times -2 times -2 times -2. 4 times. 1, 2, 3, 4. Fourth power. And that becomes -2 times -2. Now now when you have even number of multiples that are negative, they become positive. So if you got two negatives, it's going to be a positive. So -2 times -2 is +4, times -2 is going to be -8, times -2 is going to be +16. So the answer is +16. That's your answer. Now, if you do it this way, now this is very important. Now, if you look at this, and I'm going to do this one in a different color here, so we'll so you don't get them confused here. Now, if you do this one here, here's B. Look at B. B is -2 to the fourth power. Now, most people would say, okay, well, -2 times -2 times -2, but there is no parentheses around it. So the only thing this exponent is affecting is that 2. The -1 is almost like you're saying -1 times 2 to the fourth power. That's the same thing. And so that becomes negative 1 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. 4 2's. That equals 16 times negative 1. That equals negative 16. It works very differently whenever you're dealing with parentheses. You got to follow the parentheses first. That's always that's important. Okay. Next, we're going to do a different type of order of operation. And if you're slowing down, you can pause this to write these down anytime. In the meantime, I'm going to continue on. Now, the next one we're going to do is going to be 3. And this one, and try this one though. This is a toughie. Not really a toughie, but it can be 3 plus 4 times. This would be 8 minus 6 squared. Now, that's going to equal, the first thing you're going to do is, remember PEMDAS. Ooh, there it is, PEMDAS. Grouping symbols first, then the powers. So let's go back up here, and we see grouping symbols. I'm going to draw a line so I can keep it separate. Grouping symbols here. You have the group here, so this becomes 3 plus 4 times 8 minus 6 is 2 squared. And this becomes 3 plus, now the next step is you're going to do the exponential part. So it's 3 plus 4 times, what's 2 squared? Times 4. And that becomes 3. Now you're going to go left to right now, but the next thing you have to do is multiplication division. So let's go back to that. And this multiplication and division is going to be plus 16. And that one's easy. Now you're going to go left to right again with your addition, and that's going to be plus 19. And that's your answer. And that's how you follow the order of operations. Now, let's move on to a next. Now, go ahead and pause it and copy it down. We'll move on to the next thing. The next thing is going to be evaluating an algebraic expression. Evaluating an algebraic expression. And I'm going to write it in shorthand. Expression. Okay, and the first thing you're going to do is you're going to see that this is 2x. Let's start with 2x squared minus 6x minus 3 equals. Now we're going to say evaluate this when x equals, let me do this real quick here. When x equals 3. Now, the first thing you do is you're going to go through this. You have your expression here. Everywhere you see an x, you're going to put a 3. So you're going to put a 2 times 3 squared minus 6 times 3 minus 3. And that equals, well, the next step we're going to do is we're going to take this, first thing we got to do is we got to do the parentheses. Well, the parentheses are already done here. Okay, there's nothing to do inside these parentheses, inside these groups. So we move on to the next one, which is the powers. So that becomes 2 times 3 squared. So that becomes 2 times 9 minus 6 times 3, which is 18. Now, some people might say negative 6 times 3 and make it a plus negative 18, but that's a little much. I prefer to just say I prefer to just say minus 18. And then we say minus 3 equals. Next, we're going to look at this. This is crazy. Isn't this crazy? Watch this. 2 times 9 is 18. Minus 18. Minus 3 equals. Now, 18 minus 18 is 0 minus 3, and that gives us a negative 3. And that's our answer. Now, these things can get kind of tricky, but this is I'm going to start you at a very slow pace, and I'm going to get you ready for the next video. We're going to start with another one of these in the next step, in the next video. Thank you.